towards you guys a little bit. We get to have Renegades for their inaugural match as Team Renegades, and you see, of course, a lot of names that you might recognize, you might not. You guys talked about it a little on the desk. A couple names from LG Loyal, then went on to Dose, hit on Ube, Pibamitsu, played with Kayun on Eastwind, Citizen 7, Evil Geniuses, New Face Guy, yes, the New Face Guy from Athena. Mac played on that massive, like 700-man Method roster back in the day, and then went on to Toronto Esports for, I believe it was April Rivalcade Rumble, so right after Overwatch Pit, but we didn't really get to see all too much of him. And then Louis, same Louis from Envious, played with H2K. First team, I think, was Colorado Clutch, if I'm not mistaken, then played for FaZe for a little bit in Contender Season 0. So already starting off aggressively, though, as they're going forward. And with the Reinhardt, actually, Pibamitsu going to be bringing out the Diva here.
And it seems like things are looking pretty good overall for this side of Renegades, as they will have a slight member advantage for now, but as a respawn side, in terms of that walking back distance, will be in favor of the attack. Capo is going to manage to find a kill onto Max, so all of a sudden now with these follow-up kills, we will see Renegades being forced back towards Big Arrows, and at the very least, Ube will look to stay charged up as much as possible. Hedon is good to go, of course, with that Coalescence once more. And looking at the ultimates in general, Derek managing to get pretty close to that blade, and if he can really take somebody like Mac out of the equation pretty early into this next team fight, that could be what secures the deal here for that first checkpoint.
Ace of Spades under fire now, but playing with the terrain a little bit, just long enough to get the Primal Rage. Reset coming as Derek gets the blade. Swift striking through. He was slashing so fast I couldn't keep up with my words at all. And Derek will help solidify along with Ace of Spades there. Plasma State coming through with the Transcendence just to kind of secure things. And already a decent pace set by the Savages.
And this is one of the big things we've seen. Oh, as New Face guys got to go down too. One of the big problems we've seen this quad tank composition really faces. On one side, you really give up a lot of easy old charge rate for those aggressive divers, and on the other hand, if they actually manage to coordinate and secure those kills onto your supports, really pretty much left out on an island, if you will, as it's desperate actions for them in terms of now looking to regroup for Renegades, looking to go back towards that payload and push the opposition away. New Face Sky does have that Earth Shatter, so you might be looking for an angle.
And now Derek just again trying to have that same kind of performance with the blade. They already put out the beat. Derek has the blade now. He's going through. He actually gets hooked in. He's taken down pretty low, and they do solidify the kill. Ube is holding on now to the Graviton Surge and playing this tank composition right now. They're looking to try to control this here. We'll have to see how they deal with high ground control potentially later as Plasma Snake pulls out the second Transcendence, and they're going to get stuck now in this Graviton from Ube just to take this fight.
But now, look at that. It's so much committed from the side of Renegades. Means that, at the very least, securing the payload now, they will be looking potentially slightly favored, even with New Face Guy now getting closer to that Earth Shatter again. Whereas on the other side, Capo will look for any potential opening with those Pulse Bomb coming into this next team fight.
Okay, well, they're going to play low ground right now, try to push Ace of Spades down. He's already forced to pop that Primal Rage, and he's taken down low himself. Capo going to go through with a Pulse Bomb, but won't find anything initially, trying to take Pibamitsu out of mech, but they're not going to be able to pull it off. And now they're just chasing down Derek in the backline. He's going to be able to get that Mega Pack, but he's still caught away from the rest of his team, as Hui should lose his mech, but does somehow manage to get away for now.
And now Pibamitsu will manage to find Plasma Snake in the end, as the rest of Renegades will stay alive for now. Look to contest finally that payload. Ube manages to stay alive, and with the help of the Sound Barrier, maybe they will finally get them pushed back as Louis cleans up one kill onto Hui, gets the hook kill onto Derek. Not something you see every day, as now the rest of Savages lineup will be forced to disengage and regroup.
They have to make sure that Ube maintains this energy level. They want this charge to be very high consistently so that they can get these Gravitons secure fights, especially outside of Transcendence timings from Plasma Stake, who has been really good about getting that up, because he's just not really contested on the high ground, because defensively they have a tank composition. They're not really running at him as often.
And with the Graviton at the ready, Blade is gonna come out, and now I'm not quite sure where the Graviton went. Did he actually get eaten up? Oh man, and just like that, it's 2 kills, making it a third as Capo takes himself out at that as well. But considering the kill advantage here for Savages, they might look to clean it up and potentially get that second objective. As Killian will get another one to PB Mitsu. And with Ube going down, we might see them still attempt to stall things around. Lucio will go down, however, and it should eventually be the Savages picking up that second point too.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
So far, Renegades have been able to peel time off, but they haven't really held up extensively in any of these phases of the map so far. And as we go forward, Derek making a swap onto the Reaper, and a phase of the map like this where everything is very close quarters, where you have the ability to put that Reaper in there, and as they get aggressive, they can just send Derek in to really just punish them for their over-aggression right now.
And it will be a 1-for-1 trade. Self-destruct is not gonna find anything. We now looking to get that resuit. Earthshatter is gonna come out, not really successful, and as a result, Capo is gonna get 1 kill onto Ube. Ace of Spades claims another one himself with the use of that Primal Rage, and now that he gets the D-suit on top, we'll see once more Savages looking poised to potentially finish off this Route 66 defensive push. But Derek, who did make the swap over to the Reaper, will also be rapidly approaching that Death Blossom.
He's just gonna keep putting damage to the Discord and New Face, guys. He falls, crumbles to dust. Sound Barrier coming out. Ube only at 83%, doesn't have a very high energy level, so not gonna be able to get that Graviton up as quick as he really needs to have it, as he's now under fire. Tracer trying to hunt him down, and Capo finds the kill.
And as a result, things are looking really good for Savages. Derek now claiming another kill onto Louis. Should target New Face, guys. He will go down eventually, unable to stay alive with that Coalescence coming out of Hidan. And as a result, with 1 minute and 21 left on the clock, it will be Savages closing it out. And even though the Death Blossom wasn't quite as effective as Derek would have hoped, Louis coming out potentially even quite big with that whole hog pushing him away. However, it wasn't quite enough, and as a result, I'm curious to see what Renegades will do for their offensive round, as the quad tank really not paying off too much, I'd say.
There was a couple moments there that just left question marks on my mind, and you know, one of the bigger moments I would say was just that, especially, you know, starting off on point 2 when they started their first hold where they got a couple of fights in their favor, they were throwing out ults when they didn't really need to secure fights that they had already really kind of won, and they just needed to kind of, you know, hold on to their momentum, keep controlling the objective, and through that alone they should have been able to win the fight. And not only that, but it would have taken more time off the clock in the process, but instead they decided to overcommit a lot and try to, you know, pull as much as they can out themselves just to secure fights, to make sure that they win them, which I don't know exactly what that is, whether it's a communications issue or a lack of confidence in your team's ability to just continue and hold momentum and win a fight out like that, or what, but it's not something that you see a lot from teams that are wildly successful. So I think that's going to be something they're going to have to look to try to change, or perhaps something that we'll have to see adjusted going forward. But now as they attack, we're once again looking like we're going to be seeing the quad tank strat, as Mac is just going to check that forward positioning, but they're not in that little train. They're off on the side over by the edge, but they're going to scoot up to it now, and Mac should now be able to see it if they sneak their way up here.
An interesting approach from the defensive side, as Capo will be on that Reaper, so expecting that quad tank composition will look to have a depth volley approach, but no, not quite the Sonic Arrow position you were looking for, as the hook is gonna connect the charge as well, but nothing really gained so far, as New Face guys gonna continue to swing away, look to charge up that Earth Shatter already at 70%, so things might still be looking really good for the offensive side of Renegades, as he's gonna be shielded up, will go down in the end right before he gets that Earth Shatter, and as a result, things are an advantage for the Savages. Now coming in with the Coalescence, will look to clean it up and push this offensive side of Renegades back to the spawn.
I mean, with the Roadhog and the Reaper, they're just forcing so much pressure on a New Face guy, and yes, they're being aggressive, and yes, they're allowing New Face guy to go ahead and get his Earth Shatters quickly, but they're still taking him down. They're still ripping him out of these fights, as they did on the other side of things when they were attacking as well. And that opened things up for their front line to really have a lot of control.
And now the Earth Shatter is going to connect onto free, actually. New face guy coming up big. The return Earth Shatter will be good too. And as a result, Capo is going to pull out that Death Blossom, claiming 2 kills. And with that impressive back and forth, we will see the Savages once again potentially holding out strong as Capo and Hui clean it up once again.
What a way to get back in the fight off of a Death Blossom like that, and then Hui just making sure that he's safe and protected when he pulls it out. Now they're going to have to be careful as they re-engage. Plasma State coming close to a coalescence, but they need to make sure that they hold on to this advantage that they have created for themselves as they've lost. Oh, the Graviton coming down from Ube though. This is their chance to keep moving the payload forward.
Especially since they do secure the kill onto Derek. Still looking for more charge. It's not quite successful there for the side of Ace of Spades, and it did have their Earth Shatter. However, it should be the rest of Savages for now just giving up, regrouping, resetting, and as Ube will claim another kill, they will continue moving on with this payload. But the thing is, they still need to cover quite a bit of distance, and they're down at 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining. So I'm curious to see whether or not Savages will look for that high ground when it comes to contesting that payload again. Seems like that will not be their approach.
We see them come in now, Coalescence to re-engage. And we see also Ace of Spades holding on to the Earth Shatter. They already took New Face Guy out of the equation, and they might actually just hold on to this one. He has the opportunity to unleash it, but this is what I was talking about. The Savages showing patience with their ult usage, making sure they don't overcommit anything that they don't have to. Gonna take their time with Pibamitsu there as well. He'll fall off, and now only a minute remains. Luckily for Renegades though, Ube holding on to that Graviton Surge. So coming into this next fight, if Ace of Spades can't get the control that they're looking for, or if Derek can't ward them off with the whole hog, then this could be an opportunity for Renegades.
But considering the fact that a lot of resources are available for defensive side as well, we're gonna actually see the Death Blossom open things up and gets a kill onto Mac, but the Earth Shatter coming out of New Face Sky will look to still turn things around. Ube, I'm not quite sure what happened to the Graviton. Did it get eaten again as Ace of Spades will get another kill onto New Face Sky. Hui with a double kill of his own, and it will be Savages winning it out in the end. And all those ultimates committed for the side of Renegades means that at this point, with 25 seconds remaining, I just cannot see how they can make this push work.
I mean, it came down. Ube actually got a pretty solid Graviton, but it was warded off. It was completely overshadowed by the Death Blossom, the Sound Barrier, the whole hog, the Earth Shatter. Everything came down at the same time, so nobody could really commit to it, and they were safe inside of the Graviton.
And we'll see now Coalescence being popped on both sides. Charge is not really going to connect there for New Face Guy, but in the meantime, as overtime does kick in, self-destruct will be used by both sides. Now Pibamitsu will manage to find a kill onto Hui, and finally Renegades find the space they need, and through overtime getting the kills in the end. It will be another Death Blossom, but they were ready for it this time, as it is going to be Plasma Snake going down in the end. And they get the team kill, they get the point, and they get a lot of ultimates at the very least built up, so they can, at the very least looking forward, have a good shot at covering even more distance towards that final objective.
They were just not going to let that Death Blossom turn the fight yet again. They didn't want to see a repeat performance, but they have the advantage here. They have another Graviton Surge, and Ube has landed the last one in such a big way. Now they're going to look for it here, but pinned completely out of the fight. Ace of Spades beating out New Guy in the Reinhardt duel. This has been such a troubling issue for Renegade so far, is just not having the Reinhardt in the fight. There's been such a focus on controlling that frontline battle, especially from Savages rather, where Ace of Spades has had just that much more to work with.
And now Coalescence will be used, means that the decent will happen in the end. Capo really securing that one, but the hook is gonna connect. In the end, will not secure the kill onto that Reaper, and as a result, they will still brawl it out on this payload, pushing them away. New Face Guy's gonna go out again, as we will look to see Savages continuing on the pain train. And now, with 1 minute 22 seconds left, Death Blossom is ready again for Capo.
And I'm looking to see what kind of impact it's going to have because, again, they're trying to deal with the Graviton, but they don't have the same options. I mean, yeah, you can ward off with the self-destruct maybe, but you really got to make sure that not everybody gets caught in it because you won't be able to keep everybody alive.
We'll see Kappa get spotted out, and as a result, the Graviton is going to come through. A big one from Ube. Can it secure the kills, though? It will secure 2 for PB Mitsu. Earthshatter is going to come out, but it's not going to be quite good enough. And in the end, it will be Renegades winning out on that one as Ace of Spades went for a sneaky approach with that Earthshatter.
Charging right through, just created that opening for Capo to come through on the Death Blossom. Fortunately for them, they weren't able to actually secure the kills as the Graviton pulled them all back, but now they have that possibility to come in with 2 support ults and potentially make a team wipe happen right here, which could secure them the map.
We'll see whether or not that will be the case so far. Already under a bit of pressure. Derek might be looking to be the first one to contest, but he does get hooked. And now going onto this payload, speed boosting again. Soundbear will be propped pretty early. Coalescent will come through. Louis does not have any response as we'll see the whole hog come from the side of Derek. He will be the first one to go down here, Louis that is, and Capo now with another one onto Mag. The Earthshatter does come through, but Capo the one to claim another kill, and overall it should look like Savages will look to clean it up. Capo again having that Death Blossom, secures the kill onto Ube. Derek gets another, and even though the overtime will still continue, Louis will be taken down, and it should be Savages with a first map win.
And there are a couple things that you certainly look at and say, maybe this is something that they want to look at, you know, their first couple of fights that they had, especially on attack, especially on defense, rather. You know, just one of those questions of, do you really need to commit all that to some of these engagements? And then secondly, how do you find ways to keep New Face Guy alive? Because a lot of this pressure from Savages is directly pointed at your front line, at your main tank. So going forward into map 2, you got to look at that. Don't go anywhere, guys. On the other side of this commercial, we got map number 2.
And we are back at the analysis desk once again. The Savages looking very impressive. It does feel that they planned every fight on the map, basically from the start till the end. Just amazing.
A lot of their approaches, especially noticeable on the defensive side, seemed, as you said, just well practiced and planned ahead of time. And overall, considering that we saw only the quad tank basically from the side of Renegades, I would love to see them just be quicker to adapt. We know that Ube can play something else outside of the Zarya, of course, and now that I do believe they might be swapping out PB Mitsu, they might just look to do just so.
Also, Kappa was looking very good on Reaper, and also Derek on the attacking side with Genji was doing a lot. So I expect them to continue doing the good work. Next up is Hanamura. What's your take on the map?
This is, considering the map once again, this is one of those that we've seen quad tank being played quite a bit on that first point. So it's gonna be a toss-up when it comes to whether or not we'll see more dive or those tankier lineups on that second point. It might come down to some more soldier play as well, but I'm curious to see whether or not we will see somebody from the Savages, for instance, pick up something like a Mei to answer a potential quad tank. We've seen how successful that was over on the European side of things, but as well as the Reaper with the McCree. That's been an interesting one because it not only really pushes these and punishes these quad tank compositions with those damage, but the flashbang, that extra CC, really helps in the Reinhardt battles as well.
But also Ana seems to be one of the ways to also deal with the quad
For
tanks.
sure.
And now we also know that Black Widow is very good on this map. Do you think anyone could maybe select it out of these players?
I mean, I don't think they're gonna have the highlight moment on the Widowmaker just like Zerg had, but it could come, could come out. It's just, I'm not quite sure who would be picking it up for the side of Renegades, and on the other end, for Savages, I just haven't seen anyone from them play that Widowmaker just yet.
Quick prediction, are we maybe going to see a third map?
I would love to. I think this is gonna be the first control map of Group B.
But considering how the Savages have been playing in the previous match, I think this could be very likely a 2-0. Let's see what happens. The match is ready.
You talk about a Widowmaker, Capo can play it. Capo can play it, but Guru is coming in. Guru Lols, you might know him as. And he's going to be playing Flex Take in place of Pibamitsu, playing the same position that Diva. And they're still playing tanks. I mean, we're seeing tanks on tanks. This looks a lot more like EU than it does NA.
And we'll see Capo still on that trace at the very least now, as Louis is going to be able to find Plasma Snake and that engage, and a big one at that, as that lack of extra healing could be really big. Newface guy even claiming a kill onto Kayun. It's gonna mean that no supports are available on the offensive side, but in the meantime, Derek and Ace of Spades still looking to answer. We'll grab 2 kills of their own, but it is going to be overall in the end Renegades winning it out.
Ace of Spades got the kill, but it wasn't quite early enough to create that pocket. Now Capo is gonna get off of the Tracer and go over to the Reaper. This is that same thing we saw before. Just punish Newface guy when you can and have that advantage in the front line.
And ooh, the hook is gonna actually connect to Hidan, but it does manage to fade out in the nick of time. And now Coalescence will be popped. Air Shatter though, it's gonna lay all of them. Ace of Spades with the big slam is gonna make things easy for his team to potentially get this first point. Capo already cleaning it up on that Reaper. Newface guy swing it away, but it will not be successful. And Savages once again swapping the right picks and finding the kills they need, and off of a big ultimate at that.
Ace of Spades has been lights out so far on this matchup against a player that has played in Korea. I mean, a Meta Athena tank Newface guy is no slouch himself, and Ace of Spades has just, I mean, they've obviously been enabling him to a very high degree, but they're going to continue it here as they do get Graviton'd up. Ube was right there to collect almost all of them. Everybody but Capo is going to go ahead and collect 1 kill for himself as he makes his exit to his demise as well. 5:50 on the clock here. Renegades make the first hold, but a lot of time left to get through.
That could have been very dangerous here for the defensive side because Derek did find Louis off at the high ground, instantly hooking him. However, Ube was on point when it comes to those projected barriers, making sure his soldier does stay alive. And as a result, Louis is going to be 70% soon enough towards that tech visor, whereas the offensive side only really the sound barrier to work with, maybe that Death Blossom going into this team fight as they will look to engage. Sound barrier was used along the self-destruct actually, but the return of Shatter is gonna be good from New Face Guy, but Death Blossom will claim a kill onto Mac. Can he find anything else? No is the answer. In the meantime, Ube gets 1 kill of his own. Derek looking for more, but the tech visor off of the high ground will look to potentially swing things around in favor of the defensive side. Self-destruct now used. Wolf Force Ace of Spades back, but the Air Shadow will come through once again as Guru and Mac claim 2 kills. Hook is gonna come through, but the defensive spawns, or rather respawns, could still mean that overall no ticks will be acquired here for Savages.
Fantastic first showing from Guru on the Diva. As soon as we see the actually, I'm not sure if it was Guru or Mac, it was one of them, but as soon as we saw the Earthshatter come down, and I believe Guru actually got slammed down, so it must have been Mac, if I'm not mistaken, booped Ace of Spades off of his original charge, and then he wasn't able to actually get a charge kill, and they actually allowed Guru to get that kill onto Ace of Spades. So that really opened things up on the point, and also denied the Earthshatter, something that's been very, very pivotal in a lot of these fights for the Savages.
And now we will see Capo make the swap over to that soldier himself, but the Graviton is going to manage to find quite a lot of those targets. The charge is going to be good too, and Louis claims the kill onto Plasma Snake. However, Hui answers with one of his own, but overall, it should be once again this team of Renegades winning it out, as Ube was quite impactful on that Zarya, I'd say, managing to not only find the big Gravitons, but also charging that one up quite fast.
Ube coming away from that fight with not a lot of charge to play with, so gonna have to make sure he gets it here. Oh, Defense Matrix gonna deny his personal shield some of that Fire Strike energy, but now getting aggressive. Derek with the whole hog.
Look to create some space for his team as he will at the very least secure that high ground positioning for the rest of them. And now Tac Visor will be used from the side of Louis as he will look for those targets, unable to find any work done so far. But Ace of Spades is going to drop really low. However, the Sound Barrier is going to drop right on time, and Derek will secure that kill. But the Earth Shatter from New Face Guy drops 2 on the ground is going to be enough as Capo is going to look to answer with a Tac Visor of his own, but it's a little too late as Hui will get desuited, and overall it should be once again Renegades winning it out on the defensive side.
They have to pull out now. Indeed, 240 remains for them. They had it so close there. If Kappa would have been able to get that just a little bit sooner, but Guru just zoned him out completely from the fight, and when he finally did manage to get that ultimate up, he was just taken out almost immediately. Now Kappa under fire. Oh, the Mega stolen by Guru in his face. So now they're down 6v5, but Ace of Spades gonna try to open things up, taking the kill onto New Face Guy again, and it's again Louis with the Tac Visor.
Oh, and he gets the Graviton, and already not even one tick didn't rather achieve here for the offensive side, as Louis, as he said, opening up with the Tac Visor, gonna push them away as he did get a kill on to Plasma Snake, and now with his final few kills, definitely Renegades looking much better now on Hanamura, and Capo was hovering that wouldn't make it for a second, but it will be Plasma Snake on the Ana instead.
I mean, honestly, just a couple of really impactful plays from Guru to shut down Capo on the Soldier to enable Louis so that he can just hold on to that high ground uncontested. I mean, and not even virtually uncontested, I mean full on uncontested on the high ground in that last fight. So now as they go ahead and make that same move, Louis is going to adjust, work his way back around the side, and they're going to have to either push into him or allow him to have that excellent positioning.
And they're not going to find a catch. Is going to be Kayun instead, getting a kill onto Louis, making a 6v5. Will look to potentially force the defensive side on that point, so just so they can contest, and self-destruct will be used. However, the shield was there for the for the Earth Shatter, as both Reinhardts are going to clash. It is going to be Ace of Spades going down, but New Face Guy will follow as well as Capo alongside the Zenyatta on that high ground with those supports, but it does mean that overall in the end, those tanky members of Savages will fall short, and again, nothing achieved in terms of those ticks on the point. 34 seconds left here for the Savages.
They do have nano boost. If they can get that onto the tac visor and somehow get away from the graviton surge, I mean, you can definitely do that with the transcendence. You just have to make sure that you stay up in it, and Ace of Spades isn't going to be able to earth shatter them away. So you really have to try to see if you can stay alive with it right there. Self-destruct to come out though.
And it doesn't gonna, it will rather not find the kills he was looking for, but now that Derek does get one onto Mac, it will be Derek all up in that kill feed as he gets two off of the nano boost, and we'll see Louis look to potentially answer, but it is going to be all about Savages finding the kills they need. Overall, however, the respawns will be there for Renegades, so I'm curious to see whether or not they can still mount a hold right before they get that second tick. Capo's gonna get another kill, but Ace of Spades will fall, and Yadagura will lose that suit. We might still see Renegades picking up the kills they need as Coalescence will be used, securing another kill this time around, looking to keep Ube safe as well. So he looks to charge up Hui. It's gonna go down on that Doomfist, and 61.6% is all Savages get.
Plasma Snake just had gotten another nano boost, but wasn't able to get it out in time, and was actually zoned off pretty hard in that fight as he was up on the high ground trying to heal his teammates. But there was shields up there, there was defense matrix, there was bodies that he was hitting as well. Obviously that weren't his teammates, so he was really kind of struggling to keep those guys alive. And I mean, that becomes a little bit tough in that kind of situation where you need to keep everybody stable and composed so that you can just ward off all of those respawns and take the fight, especially as Hui went down pretty early himself. And then you lose that extra protection there as well from the D.Va. So they're not able to secure it. They get 61.6%. And certainly I would say that Renegades are looking a lot better, but really, I mean, it's because they have a lot more control now. And a big reason that, or for why that might be, is because Guru has really made some big, impactful plays on the D.Va, warding Capo out of fights, which has been, I mean, pivotal in some of these engagements where they've taken tac visor out of the equation when they might not have had an answer otherwise. And then on top of that, because they're playing a Zarya into what is no Zarya comp on the opposition, they have that extra control from Graviton, so they can ensure teamfight wins on the Graviton, where they can get aggressive, allow New Face Guy to finally be able to just hold W for once in this matchup, and actually take fights that way. So things looked a little bit better for them on defense here, but we'll have to see if that can continue, because as they go ahead and try to hold W on attack, look what they're walking into. Again, a Reaper and a Roadhog.
And I would have liked to potentially see that Junkrat too, but considering how effective Derek was on that Roadhog, he really blamed him too much, and will be those first few picks is really what gonna swing things way or another here for either of these teams, as the hooks are gonna come through. Derek, however, will manage to stay alive. New Face Guy, the one to go down instead. I think he was caught a little bit too far forward. Ayun is gonna get another one off a good hook, and already things looking good for Savages on defense as well, once more with the help of that Reaper.
As they pull back, I mean, this is gonna be something to take note of. How do they want to deal with this? It looks like they're just sitting in spawn at the moment trying to figure things out if they want to make adjustments or not, and they do decide to, and I like this adjustment. This is the kind of adaptation we were looking for, especially because we know what Ube is capable on the Pharah. There's no real ability to deal with him outside of, like, I guess Hui to some degree. So you bring out the Pharah, you bring out the Mercy, and now all of a sudden you have an advantage again.
And we'll see if they can capitalize off of it, as they're going to look to find a kill onto Derek. And as a result, it will be a 5v5, but Louis gets another one. Hedan is going to go down, however, as it's still an all-out brawl. It's a 4-4-4. Now Ube is going to manage to find another one. Earthshatter is going to lay two on the ground, though, but it's still all about Renegades, as the kills are in favor of Dumb. That Death Blossom is going to find its way on the other side. Louis with the whole hog, securing the point here for Renegades.
Well, for Capo, he's likely going to make a swap, but not the swap I was expecting. Is this for real? A
Interesting.
Bastion? A Bastion this early right now? I was actually expecting, you know, a soldier, much like Louis pulled out, but instead they pull out the Bastion, they play the high ground game, and Derek, of course, on this Roadhog. So with the Orisa change and still playing with Lucio Moira, they're going to be able to readjust, but they're going to have to play off the cooldown of that shield, and they get knocked right off. Ube completely ruins their setup.
And as a result, Capo's already going to be out of the fight. Self-destruct will be used. Soundbear on the offensive side too, but Ube claims another kill. Will get hooked. Will manage to stay alive for a while. Can Plasma Snake secure the kill? No is the answer. He will still find it. Louis will claim another one onto Derek. Capo now coming back from spawn on the Widowmaker will secure one kill onto Hedon, so things are looking slightly better now for Savages, but as I say that, Ube is going to be able to claim another kill. Louis claiming another one of his own onto that Widowmaker, and Renegades looking to potentially bring us to a third map as one tick might already be achieved. It does go through. Derek going down. Ube still uncontested on that Pharah. Kayun might go down here alongside Capo on that Tracer. Only the Diva to contest, and can they keep up the momentum as it will see Capo go off in the end. No advantages really in sight here for Savages, and Renegades just running off of that snowball, looking to once again, as said, get that sound barrier once more and just seal the deal right here, right now. Bring us to that Nepal map in the end, eventually, at least throughout this prolonged team fight.
Yeah, not going to work out in the end. 445. They have the cap finally, 62%-ish. Renegade take it. And finally, they adapt. Their second point defense was phenomenal. They held out impeccably. I mean, Guru was really connecting well. Ube had all the time in the world to generate those Graviton surges to win out those fights that really would have been kind of tough otherwise. And then finally on attack, they say, fine, we know what to do here. Ube, pick the Pharah.
And we will be moving on to a short break. Don't go anywhere.
Ube being the key player in this one, he took the Pharah in the right moment and caught completely off guard the Savages, I'd say. And I'm also questioning the Bastion pick that early. I don't think it was such a great move at that point.
I mean, it was really also down to the fact that Renegades finally adapted. It was even going to the second point that they decided to also swap around, and with that dive, they secured those kills, and eventually throughout that prolonged team fight, got the win in the end. And I gotta give props to Hafiko. I saw him type this one out, and it's really hard to play versus really good tank team when you don't have as many high ground positions, as many high ground approaches for those engages.
And also, it was nice to see a fight between Aces of Spades as Reinhardt and the new face guy. In the end, it was the new face guy, in my opinion, bringing more to the team. And now we're going to move on to the Nepal. The match is tied.
First control map.
First control map. The match is tied 1-1. Who do you think has the edge coming into this?
It's gonna be once again a pretty difficult one to decide, but Renegades, if they show up once again just like they did, considering the map in question, I think they have what it takes to secure the win.
Now we will start on Village. For the entry point, do you think Ube will play on Pharah?
It has been one of the options here on Village for sure, but considering their emphasis on those tanky lineups, we might still see the Quantag coming out of them.
So who do you think now has the advantage in a way that we saw Savages playing great in the first match, a bit worse in the second, Renegades not looking that good in the first one, and now it all comes down to a control map. Do you think that basically who's going to win?
I think it's going to potentially come down to some of those mind game elements too. Now, going into the first map, do we expect a Quatang once again out of the side of Renegades? Do we pick the Reaper? But if they go for the Pharah, we're not going to have an answer again. So these interesting back and forths and adaptations could be the big thing that will decide a potential advantage to start it off.
Match is ready. Hurix, take it away.
So no adjustments being made to the roster here. And again, look at this setup. We're seeing the Reaper and the Roadhog again, and Ube coming right back to it with the Pharah.
And it seems like in terms of that mind game element, they could have potentially won it out, as once more, and one will have an easy time to deal with the Pharah, but considering the positioning they can really nest up on here onto the point, it will be somewhat difficult for this side of Renegades to make anything happen. But as they say that, they're gonna look to engage, and they find the kill cybers. Ube already good to go with the rocket barrage, will be hunted down, denied by the Diva, as he will at the very least get the D-suit, and Coalescence will come out. Max secures one kill, but in the end, it will be the Savages wouldn't get out.
All they did was just take their time, just stay safe as they could, and then just wait things out. As soon as we saw some aggression, we saw Guru being hooked in, New Face guy came in from the other side, and as soon as they did, Derek and Capo knew exactly where to be, knew exactly where to look and where to put their pressure, and Hui luckily was there to kind of save the day from that barrage that came from Ube. And look at this adjustment being made now. So now they're just going to walk right into it here, bringing out the Zarya that we saw initially.
And I'm not sure whether or not this is really going to work out in their favor, as the U-Face guy already going to be dropping pretty low. Forced to disengage for now. Pulse bomb was denied there by Hui, I believe, and as the charge is going to come through, Guru jumping pretty low. Still will be able to get healed, but again, so much time wasted as Louis is going to go down once more. Ace of Spades, definitely a big player there on that Reinhardt. Self-destruct will be used. No kills will be obtained out of it, but again, it's all about the Savages winning it out.
And they haven't really had to commit much. I mean, all they've thrown out so far has been the self-destruct. They won the first fight without having to use anything, as we saw Ube throwing the barrage out and then just dying to his own rockets. But this last fight was just complete control and dominance being asserted. We see what a nice little move. Earthshatter coming out. They're going to throw Guru potentially off the map, but he comes right back into it.
And the Graviton was used. Guru secures 2 kills off of the self-destruct, and maybe finally Renegades retaliate to potentially get the point that they need to, as it's already at 90%. They need to make this swap happen right here, right now, right before overtime. However, considering the fact that they did build up so much with that percentage, all the Savages need is one more team fight to secure this first point win.
That was such an important fight for Renegades. Obviously, that was the fight they had to win, but on top of that, they also pulled out so much from the Savages after really being kind of caught off guard initially. So now as they look to get this next fight, they're a little bit more evenly paced, and they luckily have Louis close to that rip tire.
And that could be the big thing that will stall things here for the rest of this team as the charge will come through. Ace of Spades looking to find an angle there. Will not be too successful. However, he died almost going down. Will manage to stay alive. Guru punishes that aggressive play out of the Reinhardt, but they might still get the point cap back. But as I say that, Louis gets to go with the Riptire. Can't quite pull it out just yet, but will commit to it. And we will be getting a double kill. And just like that, it will result in this lineup of Renegades holding out strong on the point.
Now, likely about 2 fights away from determining who's going to be able to take this. Or less, obviously. But as we look at this one here, Ube, who's been granted just about enough time to generate up that Graviton Surge. They could use this here. They certainly want to try to use those barriers to keep New Face Guy aggressive, controlling the pacing of the fight so that we could get some energy for Ube, and then Graviton will come down to follow up.
Oh, but Ear Shatter is gonna stop this offensive push potentially, but as I say that, New Face Guy cleans up one Hui, returns the favor with a kill of his own. Hook is gonna come through, but the Graviton is gonna be there, and with the Riptire coming out of Louis, it will secure a kill onto Kayun, and even though the Sound Barrier was used, this might just be Renegades turning it all around and claiming the win here as Ube had a triple kill off of it. Only that Reinhardt for Ace of Spades remaining, and it in the end, Renegades winning it out.
So that swap working out for them quite well, because with the projected barriers and, you know, of course, that pick of the Junkrat, it really helped them kind of control things on the front line. So it gave a little space to New Face Guy so that he didn't just constantly be under fire by Derek and Capo, so that Ace of Spades could just do whatever he wanted. So I really like that, and on top of that, that Graviton worked out really well for them. Yeah, they only got 1, but they had a late switch to it, and on top of that, it was very impactful. They secured the objective because of that. Now they're going to keep the same exact setup. They really like this tank lineup. Whenever they can play it, they seem to really kind of lean on it. But now some adjustments being made. Ace of Spades on the Winston, and it's going to be Derek for the first time, and Pitt at least, on the Pharah.
And we'll see whether or not...
I guess other than at the end of last map there.
Well, we'll see whether or not it's going to pay off, as on the other side, it is a quad tank to start things off here for Renegades, and so far things might be looking good for the Savages as Derek is going to be able to find a kill onto Mac, gets another onto support. So Hidan and Mac out of the question means that I just can't see how Renegades will win this one out. And as I say that, New Face Guy and Louis still look to retaliate. However, he should eventually go down. Kappa cleaning up that kill, and the point going in favor of the Savages.
That's exactly how you want to do it. If you're fortunate enough, if you're able to execute to find one single kill on a support, especially if you can find a double kill onto both supports like Derek was able to pull off, that's an easy fight to clean up, and the Savages once again take the early lead. But now the question becomes, can they hold on to it? Because in the last time, on Village rather, they just weren't able to secure it. Now we already see the barrage coming out. This time it's from Derek as opposed to Ube, but again, nothing coming out of it.
And now Coalesces will look to turn things around here for this side of Renegades. A self-destruct will be used. Can it find the kills? It does get one under Hidan as Louis did go down as well. So man advantage on the favor of the defensive side as Derek, he gets another one, doing so much work on that Pharah, but really enabled by the rest of his team, because even if you look at the side of Hue, he was in an instant at the ready with the Matrix while Derek used that Rocket Barrage, just helping each other out. And as Sound Barrier is available for them, it might look to shut down any advantage Renegades might get off of Ube's Graviton.
Derek holding on. Graviton comes out. They're just going to counter it with a barrage. Matt goes down. Derek finds again both supports.
And just like that, it is a 4v2, rather just losing by thought process there for a second. As Derek's just on fire, rather, on that Pharah, cleaning up 4 kills in that engage, then eventually the team kill, and man,
That was that was exactly like what the story has been so far for New Face Guy. He charges Ace of Spades, barely just doesn't make it quite off the map, and because Ace of Spades had Primal Rage, he just flicked him right off. That's how it feels bad, man. This matchup has been for New Face Guy throughout.
But now that we will see swaps coming in for the other side, we'll have New Face Guy claim that first kill, but Mac will go down. So both Lucius out of the question. Post bomb that was gonna connect onto Louis, and a big one at that potentially here as he was close to that attack visor, and Plasma Snake did use that Valkyrie, so not over just yet, but it should eventually once again go in favor of Renegades. And we saw this happen before, but can it happen again? Can they turn the point back in their favor and get it all the way for a win?
Now here it is. Have to win every fight now. Derek has looked good so far on the Pharah, but needs to continue that performance against Ube, who's had a lot of practice in EU, as we saw in the other pit. But now we'll have to see if he can match up in NA with a little bit of extra ping.
And so far, we'll see Huey not really finding the angle he wanted off of the self-destruct, and a lot of ultimates available for the defensive side. Will be Louis popping that tech visor, looking to clean it up. Gets Derek off of the skies, finds another one, gets a triple to secure it, as the rest of the Savages team we're looking to regroup and reset anyway. And considering the fact that they do have that Valk good to go too, they might just do it again.
Have to see if they can hold on to it. See Plasma Snake swapping over to the Zenyatta. You have to wonder if this means we're going to see a change from Derek if he winds up dying early after the barrage. They might be just throwing him in to barrage, die, and then come back on something quick. The question will become, what will that wind up being, or will he just stay on this instead?
Interesting enough, Louis now on that Tracer could look to deny the Zenyatta, but so far it is a 6v5 advantage. Ube claiming the first kill onto Derek, definitely helped out by the likes of that Mercy, as Hidan did pop that ultimate of his own, but already 80% being built up on the point. Ube still holding on to that rocket barrage, and things are not looking good here for the Savages, as they're gonna get staggered as well. And with 90% being built up, at this point they really need to make things work here.
And Derek died so early in that last fight. He didn't have the help of that Mercy, which Hidan is also helping Ube out, but that's the thing. I mean, he also just missed his opportunity. We see the barrage coming out from Ube. Now it's Derek's turn. He's trying to find something, but it's getting eaten up by the defense matrix. They need to get kills here. And now Ace of Spades gonna fall as Derek comes back into the fight. He's looking to try to take out the mechless Guru, and they're actually doing it, it seems. They found some kills, but they need to continue this pressure. They need to put some pressure again onto Ube as well, as he's just untouched in the sky at the moment, and he's just gonna go over to support his team. Capo now on the side as well, gonna be able to demech Guru once again.
And as a result, it's still an all-out brawl. It's still anyone's guess as to who is going to win out the grand scheme of things, as both teams are looking to regroup. Ube looking to still secure a win for his team here, as they are up 1-0. The Guru gets another one, and maybe they still recover and they still do it, considering they do have the sound barrier themselves. Popped on both ends, but can they once more make great use of their rocket barrages? Ube claims one, Louis finds another one off of the pulse bomb, and it seems like it's looking very likely to happen. Nobody on the point, and it will be Renegades winning with another turnaround 2-0 here on the ball.
And you can call it a reverse sweep, I guess, when it's just down 1-0. And that's exactly what happens. Derek, I mean, had a good start, both maps for himself, but unfortunately, even when he comes back over to the Pharah, they just can't get it done. 99% to start, and then just fell flat right after. Almost secured it on Shrine, but not enough.
And we'll be moving on to a break, but don't go anywhere. We have one more series to go.